Bit hot at the moment. It's like living on Mustafa. I feel like an old Xbox 360 that's a few seconds away from combusting and bursting into flames. And I'm not having it from people abroad saying, oh, it's only 32 degrees. Man up, because humidity, my friends. I'm sorry, Spain, Greece, even the Middle East, you don't get the humidity like this country does. And then look at other countries that are humid, right? South Korea is extremely humid, and Japan during the summer, but those countries are like 24 degrees when it's really humid. It's humid here and it's 32, 33 at the moment. It's like living in a sauna all the time. It's draining. It's disgusting. It's bad. It really is. But you're not here to hear me ramble on about the weather and the burning heat in the UK at the minute. I'm not Alistair Gold. I don't ramble on for 10-15 minutes about how I went down to the shop and dropped my ice cream on the way back, and it was a really funny story because some old lady went to pick it up and slipped over on it and broke her orbital bone. No, we're here to discuss transfer news, so let's crack on with it. And finally we have got some transfer news coming out from a reliable source that we can delve into, because Fabrizio Romano has reported that Mohamed Kudus to Spurs is potentially on. Tottenham Hotspur are very interested in the West Ham United player. Kudus is open to a move away, and the deal could be done this summer. He is Thomas Frank's priority signing from what I've been seeing over social media and from Romano, and his release clause is 85 million, which is a big old sum of money, isn't it? Spurs are obviously going to look to negotiate it down, because why would we ever pay the actual fee that a club wants for a player? That's why we always get the best players in the world, because we just put the money up front like other clubs do. But 85 million is a lot of money. And I like Kudus, I do. I think he's versatile. He can play as a box-to-box. He can play as an attacking midfielder. He can play on both wings. He can even play as a false nine. Not many players can take up that many positions. Some can do 2, maybe 3, but to take up pretty much every attacking position, or at least semi-attacking position on the pitch, is quite impressive. He's a flair player in a game full of players who are so systematic now and who are afraid to step 2 centimetres out of position. He scored some cracking goals. You know how poorly in the Spanish he goes, "Guy killed 16 Czechoslovakians. Kudus, Guy killed 16 Freiburg players in that game the other year." He was an attacking midfielder, or wherever he was in that game. If you watch The Sopranos, you'll know the reference. But that Freiburg game where he beat their entire team like Maradona and stuck it in the back of the onion bag, he scored many goals like that. He's capable of popping one into the top corner. He's a real flair player, really, really technically gifted. Plays like a Brazilian at times. But I just look at Eze. I look at that deal being 3 instalments of 20 million, 60 million. And I think, will Kudus have more of an impact on this side than Eze? I'm not sure. If he's Thomas Frank's priority, if he's Tottenham's priority, then go out and get him, because I want to see managers be backed. And what Ange sort of was, I don't think any manager has been properly backed or fully backed with the players they want and the money that they want under ENIC and Levy. So if Thomas Frank wants him, if he's top of his list, go out there and get him and pay the 85 million. But I'm thinking, unless you can negotiate that deal down to 55, 60 million, I think you can get Eze for 60 million. And I think Eze just does what Kudus does better, in all honesty. Kudus is capable of doing more, but as an attacking player, what are we going to need? We're going to need someone who knows where the back of the onion bag is. Eze's got a better goal-scoring record. We're going to need someone who's consistent. Whilst Kudus had a great first season at West Ham, his most recent one wasn't fantastic. Yes, West Ham weren't great, but Crystal Palace have been up and down like a yo-yo whilst Eze's been there. And season after season, no matter how good or bad Palace are, he's been consistently playing well and producing great performances. I think he's a better passer. He's got more assists. So all the stats will tell you that whilst Kudus is capable of doing more flicks and tricks and is a more exciting player on the eye. And that's not saying Eze isn't exciting. Eze is a very exciting player, but whilst all the tricks and flicks and you know, using your eyes will say that Kudus is more exciting, it's a little bit like Saint-Maximin in the sense that sometimes you need to look at football on a sheet of paper. Yes, it isn't played on paper, but it's what tells you the stats and the stuff that you didn't notice. And Saint-Maximin, when you looked at his stats, were horrific, and you realised that Newcastle fans, a lot of them wanted him out before he went. So I think Eze would just be a better signing. I think he improves our first team more. But Kudus is very versatile, and if he's Thomas Frank's first priority, number one priority, go out there and get him, Tottenham. You know what to do. The next thing I want to discuss from Alistair Gold, Thomas Frank would ideally like to keep Romero. I think we'll keep Romero this summer, because I think no club's going to pay the 70 million price tag. But my question is, will Romero be a good little boy and play games next season and just crack on with it and get on with his job? Because I'm not sure that he will. I think this fella is going to be an absolute pain in the backside. I really, really do. He seems like someone with a bit of arrogance, bit of attitude. When he's on your team, it's fantastic. When he's for Spurs, it's great. But if he wants to move away this summer and he doesn't get it, he could be a little petulant see you next Tuesday next season at times, and that could play in our favour against opposition sometimes, but he could get a lot more reckless red cards, could not care in a lot of games, and Romero on his day is fantastic, but on his day, it was in the Europa League, but how many games in the Premier League where he was on his day in the most recent seasons, you know? How come he's always injured for Spurs the 2 weeks before international break and the 1 week after? He prioritises Argentina. I don't have a problem with a player valuing playing for their country over playing for their club. Harry Kane always has, but he gave it 100% for Spurs as well as giving it 100% for Argentina, whereas Romero occasionally will give it 100% to Spurs, sometimes 70, 80, 90%, and always give 157% for Argentina. Yeah, that's not possible, I'm speaking hypothetically, but he'll always give everything he possibly can for his country, and that bothers me a little bit. I want people who are 100% behind the team. Whilst Thomas Frank wants him, we know his policy on no knobheads. If Christian Romero starts acting like one, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him shipped out at a very small price in January, which is why I say if a decent offer comes in, 50 to 60 million, take it. Go out there, buy a Flamingo, buy a Gatti, buy someone who can come straight in, do a decent job in that back two or back three against a good opposition, which we know that Thomas Frank likes to do. Guys, I am going to leave you. I am going to burn. Take care. Stay safe in this weather. God bless you all. And as always, come on, you Spurs.